Hello. So, welcome back to part three. This is another part to the video series I'm making or just recording, talking about on this channel. So, once again, I'm Tiffany. Please like, subscribe, share if you can. So, I believe I left off on well, basically, to summarize what I've already talked about, I talked about how the music industry is founded upon homosexuality and child pedophilia and human trafficking. And so that permeates the minds of um, the targeted audience, which are primarily black male and female. So that permeates the mind of these men, and they start to imitate the so-called lifestyle, but they're not understanding what they're imitating. They're picking up on a spiritual type of behavior patterning, which is that of homosexuality and closeted. And so a lot of these older men, even, it's really sad and sickening that they are still big fans of Tupac and Nipsey Hussle. They're still big fans of these rappers who are clearly, at this point, it should be pretty clear to anyone who wants it to be clear, except for these men who understand that these men are clearly homosexual. Where are their wives? Where are their wives? Why are all these men screaming and yelling and being these groupies and these fans for other men? That's weird how it's so male dominated. It's male dominated. And so that really was basically the what I was talking about, and I covered some things about like the rapper reality shows, and I really wanted to just talk a little more about that, but I believe that's where we left off at in this discussion about how the rap industry, the music industry, are full of homosexuals with an agenda to basically just go ahead and obliterate the entire basically human race, because it's clear that two men can't procreate, and it's this agenda they're trying to push. So they still want to use women but not live in God's order with the woman, because it's very out of order to, and it's worse to me than a woman being promiscuous for a man to even have a sexual relations with another man. You have totally degraded yourself. It's really no coming back from that except for God and to stop that lifestyle. But it's very hard for people at a certain point to stop that lifestyle because they find so much pleasure in the act, and that pleasure overrides anything, other obligations that these men have. It overrides that. It overrides any obligation because there's so much lust. And these are these two masculine energies now coming together, these two beasts coming together and just ransacking one another. And just the thought of it is sickening. Half of the time I want to throw up thinking of it, and the other time I just want to cry. The other half of the time I just want to cry. So, with that being said, let me get back to the topic at hand. So, I was basically talking about how people are so um just so in a state of awe with these celebrities, in particular these rappers, and so I was talking about the Monsters Inc. movie and how the monsters would go into the rooms, these secret doors, which is really the mind. It's basically a symbolizing the mind, So these celebrities, by these images, they get into your mind. You understand? And then from there, you are being programmed and you're being brainwashed into who a certain thought process, and then you basing all your opinions off of this this concept of whatever concept they threw out there at you, where it's the glitz and the glam and the diamonds and the watches and the fast life and the, all of that. Don't get me wrong, I'm no Bible thumper, I'm no nun, but I do have a moral compass. And a lot of these people who are involved in this on a daily basis, as they become older and older and older, um, and they never really get the help that they need to get rid of these demons, these sexual demons that's causing them to be intimate with other men for whatever reason, whether that's pleasure. You are not supposed to derive pleasure from that, and that goes to the point of a lot of these a lot of men who are closeted homosexuals. They were sexually abused as children, and those who did not get the help that they needed, they continued to have this attraction to the opposite sex, and especially if they didn't have their dad around, they could get trapped in this mindset where they're always looking for their dad, and they find these men who reminds them of their dad, and or reminds them of a dad figure. Like, I knew a guy who was attracted to, and it took me a while to really put the pieces of the puzzle together, but thank God I did. But he was attracted to teddy bear type of guys, big guys, and I'm like, what is this pattern? What is this pattern? And that's another thing you got to read between the lines. That's going back to my point of the Monsters Inc. movie. Like, a lot of times they code these movies. And like I said, I was talking in the other video about gaslighting. So they want you to see this one thing, and it's really cute. The movie is with the monsters and what's his name, like Sully, and then his little friend Mike. All of that, that's all cute and it's colorful and stuff. But you gotta look beyond that. You gotta look past that, and that's that third eye thing too. The seeing beyond these two eyes. Called the third eye, which is just basically just stop being scared uh, to have your own identity. You don't need a lot of people just scared to look at themselves in the mirror, so they are just like everyone else around them. So when they do look at themselves in the mirror, they're not really seeing themselves. They're seeing a reflection of whatever the world wants them to be. So that's why it's a lot of mental health issues and so much homosexuality. My God. So getting back to the point of the Monsters Inc. So they went into those rooms to trap them kids' screams, and that those screams gave them energy. That little machine they used to put the screams in. If I'm correct, they did something with the screams. They'll trap it, and it was used as energy. All these kids screams when they come in there at night and scare them, which was kind of like kind of weird there. So anyways, to want to be scaring some kids, in a movie, like, you got to have a certain type of mind to write these things, even though it is truth in it, but it's all just so demonic at the end of the day, because the same people writing this is the same people who are involved in this industry and promoting this and condoning this, and they're all doing it for money, but these rappers are at the forefront, you know um, and they are behind the scenes, but they are all just as guilty as the other for this child pedophilia and this human trafficking and this homosexuality. So with the Monsters Inc., and then so how it relates to, getting back to what the subject, how it relates to the music industry and the fans is, once they get in your mind by creating all these images, and all this money, when people need money to live, so it's such low hanging fruit. So when they get in your mind, they are able to control you then, and so then you become a fan and you go to these concerts and you just like, so like, oh my God. And you start screaming, and that's giving them energy, energy, energy. And that's why they starting these worship services, and it's supposed, and they're using God's name in vain. I talked about that too. That's so horrible. So the screams, like I said, turn into energy, and then they just have complete control of the population. Complete control. They can tell you you're finna die. You're gonna think you're gonna die. They can tell you that the world coming to an end. You're gonna think the world coming to an end. They're gonna say whatever they say. You're gonna believe it. If they say jump, you're gonna say how high. It just never ends. And so then that's leading to how the celebrities, they are monsters. They are possessed by these demonic entities, and they do have an agenda, which most say is hidden, but I don't. It's not hidden. It's right there in front of your face. If you want to see it, and if you don't want to see it because you're part of that same agenda, but just on a smaller scale, then you one who always trying to justify this gay stuff, and this homosexuality stuff. Now, as a personal preference, okay, I understand that if that's what you want to do, but to just push this whole agenda and then think ain't nobody else want to push back, that's crazy to me. That's like me and a whole nother group of people who just come up with some idea that you know people don't no longer need to wear a left and a right shoe. Stop making left and right shoes. Just make two left shoes, and that's what people got to wear from now on. And everybody got to get on this bandwagon and respect it, accept it, be a part of it, or too bad, you know. And I've even had some men who were homosexuals. They would taunt me like, "Oh, you just jealous," and I just felt so disheartened by that, because then that person is so lost to think a woman, who is attracted to men and would be jealous of a man who's attracted to the same thing I am supposed to naturally, they are unnaturally, because of trauma 80% of the time, attracted to men. And I'm jealous. It's sad. It's the devil just working, and he just sitting back laughing. He's sitting back laughing. So, there it's very monstrous. It's a very demonic and selfish. And a lot of people who are selfish, they become predators to get their needs met. So these people are very selfish, and this all leads back to narcissism. Strongly, discouraged around here. So it leads back to the narcissistic music industry and how the men are down low and closeted. You know, and when people are so promiscuous and they keep talking about, oh, sex, 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 sex in their music, and most of the time we women think they're talking about sex with us. No, they are not talking about sex, I'm sorry, with us. That adult thing. They're talking about that adult thing with their same, you know, the men they in the video with, you know. So we got to stop thinking that you got to look beyond what you see. You think all these men backstage ain't doing anything. This ain't just the music industry. This is what part of that, but like a whole group of men who are always working together in an enclosed space for long period of times, for years at a time. It's not intimate with one another, and don't have any wives, don't have any kids over 35, 40, and 50. Come on already. Come on, wake up. I had to, but when I did, I ain't like what I saw. So that is leading to being promiscuous. These people are so promiscuous that goes to show you that once you that promiscuous, coming up, my people used to always tell me you sleep around so much you'll end up sleeping with anything. When you that promiscuous, you will sleep with anything, because it ain't about anything other than that adult act anymore. It's not about anything else. It's just about getting energy, getting your needs met. So narcissistic. And so with that being said, with these predators here in the music industry preying upon us, we are also in a way being human trafficked, but at the same time, human trafficked. At the same time, it is real human trafficking in the music industry, starting with little boys that have been brought up as a rapper, ever that is anymore, or whatever it ever was. being brought up with show moms. They do not have real moms. So you gotta understand, like, it's a lot of lost and unaccounted people for in this world. It's a lot of people who were born to crack addict moms who abandoned them. I know some personally. And then they were taken in by whoever on the block, this person on the block. And the mom could have died, overdosed to drugs, locked up in prison for whatever, 20 years, 30 years. So then this child is out here, and they get into hands that are not of God, that are vessels of God. They don't have the agenda of God, they have the devil's agenda in mind. And so what they do is they traffic these kids. And so that's why you see a lot of these child stars act so crazy, because they really are mentally ill. I think even with families, if you get in that industry, all the things you got to do to stay in gonna make you mentally ill. But just imagine growing up in it, and here it is on, say for instance, that kid that was raised as a rapper in the industry, passed around, discouraged. You can hear these older rappers telling these younger men, discouraging them from having relationships with women, talking about they need to just focus on their career. You telling this young man who 25 plus, who should be focusing on dating and all of those good things with the opposite sex, to not do it. So it's like this, it's such a demonic behavior. It's so homosexual driven, like the undertone, and it's sometimes come off incestual at the same time, like incest, because it's family members. You're supposed to encourage men to start a family and to have a woman around, because it reminds them that they're a man. A man cannot make you feel like a man. Only those two demons doing that is demonic. So, with that being said, with the human trafficking in these men getting these little boys and messing up their head, and as they grow up without any real family, they have these show moms for television, because yeah, it's gonna look so weird after a while. This kid that we saw our whole lives, or since we were kids growing up on television, and where is his real life? He don't have one, because the whole purpose of him is to be um, a celebrity, and to make money for all these people and get passed around. That's wrong on so many levels. That's wrong, and I know it's so much human trafficking, and so it's so many missing kids, um, and so my next point would be, now the child pedophile rings. I think it goes all the way up so high to the elites and the rich and stuff, but it comes all the way down to, for example, when my child was younger, um, when my child was younger, I found out that the daycare that she was going to, the director of that daycare was human trafficking people. And this is in Atlanta. And this is right smack next door to a very, very prominent and popular music idol, and or people who idolize this music producer or rapper slash rapper, but right next door to this person's studio. And that daycare had gotten shut down, and that person had went to jail. Those allegations were true. She was literally using these people from off the street, people from other country, people without families, to work for her for free, clean up for her. She was in the whole sex, the adult thing, trafficking and human trafficking ordeal. And I said, oh my God, and my daughter went to that school. And that really scared me. And it made things more as they became closer to home, with these events that I know are premeditated, and it's part of what they they're trying to destroy us as a just as a people, as a human race. They're trying to destroy that. So as it get closer and closer, as these things happen to me, it becomes just a little bit personal. Yeah, even when I was younger, when I was a kid, I saw, during the crack epidemic, living in a very like large metro city where it hit real hard. Oh my goodness, it was so many kids being abandoned because their parents was on drugs, and they were getting into the wrong hands, and them kids were human trafficked. They were made, they couldn't go to school. Excuse me, they couldn't go to school. They were made to cook and clean and be of service to adults all day. They were used sexually. So if this happening on in my world, imagine just in this world that's all driven by money, by the greed of money, and it has in God we trust on it. I'm sure. So then that leads me to with the human trafficking. It's just so disgusting to me, and even they go so far in the music industry as to use their own children, their own offspring, because they don't really care. Those are show kids in their minds, in these rappers' minds. That's so narcissistic. And it's actually narcissistic men who work in a regular 9 to 5, a straight financial loser, and have that same mentality where they use a kid. They'll even use kids they're not theirs, but they definitely, gonna use the kids as theirs. Definitely gonna use those kids as theirs because they're show kids in the first place, and then so they use their kids to make money, and they call it the family business. But no, I even heard one of the rappers say that it was a family business. Him, himself, and his show wife, because they show wives, they're covers for these closeted gay men. They're covers for them. They are covers for them. So I heard this one very, very popular actor, not rapper, an actor said this, a black actor, and he said that his wife, himself, and his 2 kids were a family business, meaning that you cannot just live for free. You got to earn your way. You got to work. Even as a kid, no, you're not. No, you don't supposed to have to work as a kid. I think the legal age, I mean, that's like so right in front of your face, blatant to the outside. Everybody, the whole public, everybody who watching this should be ashamed of themselves and still idolize these people. You should be ashamed of yourself because it's right in front of our face. They are using these kids because just imagine if I had like an 8-year-old or something, and I start making this 8-year-old come out and work with me. If I was doing like, say for instance, DoorDash, and I had this 8-year-old, oh, she gotta work. She gonna have to work. She gotta know that ain't nothing given to her free in life. That's BS. You are a human trafficker. You are a predator. You are a criminal. You should be locked up. You are human trafficking your child for money. And also the grown adult thing, trafficking kids for money. That's not right, even their own. And they do things right in front of our face on television. And we should be ashamed for idolizing these folks. And so that leads, actors and rappers, both, use their children. They have show moms, like I said, they have show wives. They are not really married for real, for real. No, no, like they're not married for real. A lot, I know some for sure of those mom son or mom kid relationships are biological, but a lot are not. Those are show moms, especially with those rappers, for sure. For sure. Like these, um, it's of a certain time that I know of. You know, I'm not so heavily influenced by the new ones, but I know like the ones that were targeted towards my age group from in the 90s and early 2000s, for sure I know those were having show moms for sure. And they're still on reality TV and they're still talking about that same show mom. How are you? Like, come on, get up out of here. It is so obvious. So it's disgraceful. It's just disgraceful, and this is gonna lead me kind of to my last point to sum it up, that they are using, at the end of the day, all of us as fuel. They care nothing about God's agenda. They care nothing about God's agenda. They are only concerned about their agenda and money and greed, and lust. And that's all shameful for those to be your primary motivating factors. And then you using God's name in vain. And then you covering up with, oh, God's got me, or God's got my back, or God's this. Why you won't do right? Why you keep using God's name in vain? Huh? Why do you keep taking advantage of his his grace and his love? Because that's what narcissistic people do. They take advantage. They milk it until they can't anymore. They milk it until it's dry, and with a smile on their face, like they're doing nothing wrong. And family hop. These narcissists. They family hop. Nothing is organic. And it's the same thing with it. It's all related. It's all related. And these men who we deal with, who are closeted and stuff, they look up to these rappers and stuff and want to be like them, pins off your, showing your behind past, I don't know, 5 is ridiculous. 5 years old is, after that, it's just like, because somebody shouldn't have been telling you to pull your pants up. But except for those same people are idolizing the same people you idolizing, and so they think it's okay. But you're doing nothing but setting yourself up to be a booty butt, sorry, to be in that sort of lifestyle. And then you think it's okay to get into relationships and make up all these excuses. Well, this person is this person is this. But you really are the problem, because you're the one who's sleeping with the men. You the one who getting your back, but all of that out, because you the one that's wrong. These men are wrong, and then they come back to the family and these women, because I was one of them at some point, dumb. And they're using the kid. Like I said, I heard a rapper say at the dinner table, as he was praying amongst his family, kids included, he gonna say, thank you, God, for having my kids in my life to be fuel for me, to give me energy. And that was so crazy to me. I would never have said a prayer like that. I would just be like thankful for having them around to, um, to love, that I can love them, and we can have that. And I just thank them for being them. But no, he said thank you for them so they can give me fuel. And it was a little edit, and they showed how the kids reacted. They was like looking at each other like, what? So whether this is real or fake, for it to be written, you got a sick mind. For it to be actually part of whatever they got going on in real life, is sick. Either way, it's sick. So, and we got to watch this, you know. And so to me, those people who doing all that editing, who sitting down, and they usually white men sitting down doing all that editing, they sick pedophiles. You know what I'm saying? They just sick, and because the way they edit all that stuff, like they want it to be, it's like pornography. It's straight up like child pornography. A lot of it just be pornography, like, and it just be so, anything to do with kids exploiting them. It's just, to me, pornography, either spiritual or emotional or physical. And using kids in that adult way manner. It's just, it's disgusting. It's disgraceful, and everybody who doing it is going to, they're already living in a state of perpetual hell. A state of perpetual hell. It's no other way. It's no other way you could be living any other way but in a state of perpetual hell. And I want to make sure that I just cover all the points. you know um oh yeah, it was another show that I saw, the same actor who was talking about, and this was on a major platform, the same actor that was talking about how his kids, who was 6 and 7 and stuff, gotta contribute to the family financially. What? Where? When? I never even heard of that. That's not even normal. That they supposed to be going to school, just having a kid life, not. making money for the family and then disguising it as a family business and everybody just going along with it. People, we got to be ashamed of ourselves. I know some of these celebrities are just like, help, will y'all stop looking up to me, please? And they just feel so trapped. So they probably end up killing themselves because they know the truth, or unliving themselves because they know the truth. They know the truth. They like, oh my God, would y'all stop? Help. I know some of them be screaming out for help. I could see it. They be wanting people to help, but we can't help except for to do this. And to speak out and not be blinded by it. But couldn't nobody just come and physically get you, or even CIA or FBI, because I'm sure, it's all the way up there. They all connected. Everything all connected. So that is a hard one. It's going to take God. We got to keep praying, and everybody who can rise up, just rise up and speak against it. Speak against narcissistic abuse, because it is a whole culture of it from the top to the bottom, and it hurts a lot of people and destroys a lot of lives. And everybody not strong like me, and everybody ain't gonna make it out, even alive. Now, don't get me wrong, I ain't left without no scratch. Not in the least bit. So, or get out without a scratch. So I just feel like we need to be more mindful of who we are idolizing and praising, and we need to idolize and praise God, not these rappers. We don't, I mean, and these men who still, oh, this rapper, that, oh, yeah, that, you hear that new song and you 50 and stuff, ugh, or you like 30 something, and come on, that's for kids still sagging your pants. And I know, I know everybody got their own preferences and so on and so forth, and that's fine. But it comes to a certain point in life where you need to open your eyes, stop playing games, keep it real with yourself, keep it real with God, stop using his name in vain, and stop hurting people. Like, stop hurting people. I don't understand that people who get up every day and just want to hurt somebody else. I couldn't even understand the people who was around me and somewhat of a close proximity, and they would have these people around who they would wake up to hurting and go to sleep hurting, and that baffled me. And these weren't just 100% bad people, but they became their own God, and you can't do that. We can't all be God. Now we can be all God beings having this human experience, but we cannot be God. And that's what causes you to these people to say, I can treat this person this way and treat this person this way because this person is this. I found this person, on a curb, or in an abandoned crack house. Mama left them, and she over here, she overdosed dead. Ain't no baby daddy. The mama was a prostitute. They get in the wrong hands, boom, turn out to be a child rap star. And that's just sad. That's really sad. And so I just think that we just all have to, I believe that we all just have to be more focused on God and his agenda, and stop um, idolizing and singing these high praises to all the wrong people. And I've been guilty of it. But if anytime you open your eyes and you can see what's right there in front of you and stop being blind, and because it's inside of you, you know when it's right and you know when it's wrong. But a lot of people just go with this, or they just go with what they seen, or what's popular, or what's mainstream, instead of going with God, that inner self, that internal being. I just really hope that you know I could keep discussing these things, and just get into a place of like a some place where I'm able to contribute more than just my opinion, or just my voice, where I can just like help people. You know, that's what I really want to do, is help people, you know, because it's a lot of things that have people so lost and so gone, and they feel like it's okay to mistreat people to the degree that we have seen on so many levels, and it's really disheartening. And so that's why I started this channel, just to, if I can uplift, whatever, encourage, motivate, just let you know that you got to go to God. God is and when you feel in fear, go to Psalms 23. That helped me with going through so many situations, and then find a way to, if you have been affected by any narcissistic abuse, and you know you could, you, it is a recovery. And even if like one of closeted men is watching, know that, you know, whatever happened in your childhood, because most of the time it's some trauma, you know, as far as sexual grown people, things happening to kids that should not happen, you know. That usually shapes your sexual identity and or sexual preference, and it is said it is that way. And then not only is that happening, you are having to watch these closeted rappers and stuff, you know, carry on the way they do. So it's like you just keep growing up, and you just keep getting deeper and deeper and deeper into this lifestyle, to the point where you have a whole family, and you still singing praises to the most popular rapper in Atlanta, you know, and you live in that same lifestyle, because you know that these men on tour is not got no, your whole backstage full of women. It's a bunch of men doing it doing it with each other, and they be working with each other for decades, and they have families, and they closeted, they're married, you know, close, so-called married. That is a cover, sorry, being used as a cover. So that's really what I really wanted to cover. I have a part one, and I have a part two, and so this is part three. And if you guys agree or not agree, or if anything made sense, or if it did make sense, leave a comment. You know, let me know. I think I got my I have my email address linked. If not, I will. And so just tune in for more talks like this, just keeping it real and telling the truth, and calling things for just how you see it, you know. So this is, like I said, another video, part three of the closeted rappers in the music industry, and how they influence a whole culture of black men to be closeted homosexual predators as well. And the people whom they hurt is just don't, that they just don't have a voice. But I'm one of the voices, and so glad you watched, and see you later.